Hello and welcome. I'm Mark Steele and this is the Ultimate Guitar Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ultimate Guitar Show. Today we've got an awesome show for you. Wade Egan's here. He's going to play a song for you. Actually, this really cool song that he did in concert with me a few weeks back, and you guys are going to really enjoy that. For sound advice, I'm going to teach you what all the different position settings do on a guitar for the sound. All about technique, I'm going to teach you about octaves, and then riff of the week, I'm going to show you how you can apply octave shapes to melody. So it's going to be an awesome show. Sit back and enjoy the Ultimate Guitar Show. It starts now. Sound advice. I get so many emails, and a lot of them sent around this one same question. People don't know exactly what the different switches do on the guitars and pretty much what the different pickup selections are. So I've prepared this little clip to kind of give you the demonstration of exactly what the pickup selector does on a guitar. Check this out. One of the most common questions I get is, what does this switch do on the guitar? And this is known as a pickup selector. If we back up a little bit, I'll give you a few examples of how this works. But what we want to do is explain to you, kind of level out the playing field here, explain to you how it's referenced. First off, we need to know that this is the neck of the guitar, which most of you already do. But this little piece back here is known as the bridge of the guitar. And the position references are based on the neck and the bridge. The pickups that we're talking about are these little guys underneath the strings. And these are basically like little microphones. They pick up the sound of the guitar. You have the double pickup here, which is called a humbucker when there's two of them together like that. And then you've got the single coils, which are these one units here up front. And the different placements of the pickups create different sounds, as well as the humbucker versus the single coil. The switch, we reference these pickups. When the switch is all the way down, we're talking about the bridge position, or the pickup closest to the bridge of the guitar. So that's this pickup, this humbucker. When we go forward one, we're talking about the bridge coupled with the middle pickup. We move forward one more, and we have the middle pickup. One more up, we have the middle coupled with the neck pickup being the pickup closest to the neck. All the way forward is actually the neck pickup. So these different sounds, you get these great different sounds, and depending upon what part you're playing in a song or riff or solo, you might choose different sounds here. And the first thing I would recommend to you is that at home you just experiment, see what you like before I color it too much for you with what I like. But I'll give you the gist of it. The bridge position is most commonly used for a lot of heavier distortion, the stuff we want more harmonics, the real high-pitched screaming sounds, or if you want a clean sound that cuts a little bit more, sounds like this. So it's kind of the heavier, more cutty sound. It's bright, but it's got a lot of mid-range as well. When we move forward, you get more like a Telecaster, kind of a country-ish, twangy-ish sound. It's that real thinner, hollower sound. Move forward, this is similar to the back one, a little bit less mid-range, so it sounds a little bit more funky. Next position up, this position here is one of my very favorites for doing any kind of clean arpeggiated chord stuff. And that is where you play chords and you hit individual notes. Or if I'm strumming on an electric guitar, I'll most commonly use this position. It sounds like this. Or a strum. Just real soft on the ears. If I want to play something a little bassier, a little more hollow, more scooped out in the mids, more jazz maybe, I'll go to the neck position on a clean sound. That's just kind of a really warm sound. Now if we go back and do those same positions with distortion, we get all completely different sounds. So I'll turn the distortion on. In the bridge, here's that heavier sound we were talking about. Notice that you can really hear the harmonic response right there, which is really nice. I typically won't use distortion on this second position, but we'll try it to see what it sounds like. It's really kind of bright, so I typically don't like that one. And that's also true for the middle position. Of course, you can experiment at home with those sounds. Here's the middle position with distortion. It's a little bit crunchier. If I move forward though, I do like this position with the distortion. This is kind of a lighter blues sound that I'll use. I'll roll the volume back a little bit also, take a little gain off. And lastly, the most common I'll use for that distortion, like that lead sound, more like a Hendrixy thing or Stevie Ray Vaughan, a bluesier vibe, even Eric Johnson-ish, I'll go for this sound here, the neck position with the distortion. Kind of that heavy fun just to beat the you know what out of your guitar. So that's the vibe on the pickup selector. Go ahead and try them out yourself. Try it with distortion, try it clean, try it with different settings on your amp, and I think you'll really kind of open the guitar up to you for the different sounds that are possible out of your electric guitar. All about technique. Today I'm going to teach you how you can apply octaves to your playing. Now, a while back we learned the notes on the neck, but let's refresh what an octave is. Basically, an octave is when you play the same note in different registers on the guitar. For example, if I play an A on the 5th fret of the 6th string, if I run all the way through the major scale up until I hit A again, that would be our next octave. So here's an A, and then all the way through all the notes back to A again, the next octave. Again, I can do the same thing, up another octave. So the octaves are the same note, just in different registers on the guitar. And this is a really neat thing that you can use on the guitar to create melodies, which we're going to learn about in Riff of the Week. But what I want to do is I want to show you what an octave shape is. And there's just simple little shapes that you can figure out on the guitar to move around, and then we'll apply that to the riff. Basically, the first shape we're going to look at is from the 6th string up an octave to the 4th string. So this can be anywhere on the 6th string. It doesn't matter what fret, the shape is going to stay the same. If we start, let's use A as our example. So we'll look at slide number 1. We'll put our first finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string. And the rule for this, going from 6 to 4, is you're going to go up 2 frets and up 2 strings. And you'll find your other octave. Now that's movable. So the shape always holds true on the 6th string to the 4th string. Now if we do the 5th string to the 3rd string, it's the same exact shape. We just move everything down 1 string, or I'm sorry, up 1 string as we should call it. So first finger, 5th fret, 5th string now. We go over 2 frets and up 2 strings. And there we have our shape. Now in this case we're playing A, B, C, D. Remember we learned our notes, D up to a higher D. So that's our octave there. Now it changes when we go to the 4th string. The 4th string to the 2nd string is going to actually add a fret, and that's because of the tuning difference on the 4th string and 3rd string. We'll get that in no time, or I'm sorry, 3rd string and 2nd string. But the real point is just that you memorize this shape, because you'll get used to using this shape and just being able to move it around. First finger, 5th fret on the 4th string now. Now we're going to go 3 frets up and 2 strings higher. So now we're going to be doing 5 and 8, 5th fret, 4th string, 8 on the 2nd string. And our last one is going to be that exact same shape, only starting on the 3rd string now. So we start on the 3rd string, 5th fret. The octave would be 3 frets up, and then 2 strings up. So now we're doing 5th fret, 3rd string, to 8th fret, 1st string, and that too is an octave. What octave is that? If we look at this note, G, A, B, C, we're just playing an octave of a C. So what we played was A and A, D and D, G and G, C and C. And on each one of those strings, you can move it around. And the reason that this is important is because if you can see a melody, you know, if you're playing, say I'm just playing 5 to 7, D to E on the 5th string, right? Well, I can make that melody a little bit more clear by adding that higher octave to it. As opposed to just... It just fills out the sound, and in a mix, when you're playing with a band or something, it cuts a lot more. And you'll hear a lot of bands use this all the time. You'll hear this. Things of that nature, and it just really fattens out the melody. It's still just one note, but it's one note in 2 different registers, which really kind of, fattens it up. So what I'd like you to practice with this is just getting comfortable making that shape, and try it in different spots on different strings. You might try going up, or moving horizontally. and just get used to your octaves. And this is also a good opportunity to do what we did in a previous show where we talked about learning the notes on the neck. Well, maybe randomly call out a note and say, okay, I'm going to play a D sharp on the 5th string. Say, okay, A, B, C, D sharp on the 5th, and I'm going to play the octave of it. And then you can even go to the high note there and say, I want to play an octave off of that note. Well, if we look back, we say, okay, the 3rd string, we go up 3 frets and up 2 strings. There's our octave. So really we have a D sharp to there. From there, we can continue and go up even another octave. So experiment with these, and I think you'll find a lot of great applications for them, and it's also a really good way just to find notes on the neck. Last example I'll give you is this. If I play this note, and I don't know what that note is, I can walk down, and then walk down another octave. Now all of a sudden I'm really close, A to B, I'm just right on a B. And I think if you remember when we did notes on the neck, I told you guys to memorize all the natural notes on strings 6 and 5. So if you've memorized all the notes, then you can find that note really quick. So really to find this note as a B, I just walked right down, and I know that that's a B because it's 2nd fret, 5th string. So take your octaves, experiment with them, and get used to them because we're going to apply them in the riff of the week coming right up. Riff of the week. We're going to apply those octaves that you just learned. Check this out. All right, there's the riff that we're going to learn today, and it's all in octaves. Now, this is off of a new album that I just started recording, so you have to check that out when it comes out. But it's just a fun little piece that I came up with messing around with octaves. And what we're going to do is I want to tell you the notes so that you have to fish a little bit and find your notes, but I'll also show you how to play it in tablature. Let's go ahead and call up slide number 1. The first part that we're going to do here on slide number 1 is we're going to start by doing an octave off of the A on the 6th string, or the 5th fret 6th string. And remember, to make your octaves, we go to the 5th fret, up over 2 frets, and up 2 strings. Now, typically what I like to do on my octaves is use my pinky. If I'm going to play a shape like this, you can use your 3rd finger, but I prefer that you use your 4th finger. It just gives another opportunity to get a little stronger, get more comfortable. Plus, it's less stretching on your fingers. It's just more comfortable. You can lay your hand more flat, have better muting, all that stuff. So it's a better way to go, I think. Now, you're going to notice on the tablature that there's an X in between the 6th string and the 4th string. So the string number 5 is X'd out. What that is, that's called a mute. And the way that we're going to do that is with the back of our first finger is going to lean over just enough to mute out that 5th string, so that all you're going to hear is the 6th string, 5th fret. 5th string's muted out. And then the 4th string, 7th fret. That gives you your octave. So your A, click, octave, A, right? And the reason we do that is because we want to hit both those notes basically at the same time, and the way to do that is by strumming down across both strings. Well, we don't want to hear that open note in there, or we don't want to hear it fretted out. So make sure that you don't fret your finger out. That's one of the big mistakes. If you can see right here with my left hand, a lot of people tend to push this note down right here, and if they do that, then you actually create another note in the chord and it's no longer an octave. You're actually playing an inverted power chord, but you don't want to do that. So make sure that it's just leaning it over enough to mute it out. And you'll actually make sure you hit all the 3 strings you're supposed to hit to get those 2 notes to ring. Lastly, the back of your pinky should really be muting out the string below whatever it's hitting here. In this case, if we're hitting the 3rd string, right, we don't want to hear that. It should be muted out. So we're plucking the 4th string, or fretting out the 4th string, I should say. The back of that pinky should lean over just enough to mute that out. And that way, when you go to hit the strings, what you really try to do is kind of hit all the way through 4 strings, because what happens all too often is people will have the pick go out and they'll only hit the low note. So they'll be making the octave shape, but you don't hear the high note. In this case, we want to hear the high note. The way to do that is to make sure the pick strongly goes through the 3 strings you're supposed to hit, and then it mutes out that 3rd with the back of your pinky. Okay? First section we're going to do this. We're going to do 5X7, or the octave off the 5th fret, the A, right up to the 7th fret. And make sure you don't hit the high strings. Open, you don't want to hear those. And that's basically the first section. Second section, we're going to go to a C sharp, and play an octave off the C sharp off the 5th string. Well, C sharp, remember, A, B, C sharp, 2 frets up, 2 strings up, there's our octave there. Again, now in this case, we're going to learn one more muting technique. The tip of our first finger is going to mute out the 6th string a little bit. You want to just barely touch that 6th. That way, in case you accidentally hit it, that's your insurance policy that you don't hear that note ringing open, right? So the tip of your first finger right here is going to mute out the 6th string. The back of your first finger mutes out, in this case, it's going to be the 4th string. The pinky frets out, and meaning makes the note of the 6th fret 3rd string, and the back of it is going to mute out the 2nd. So now you're going to be hitting strings 5, 4, 3, and 2, but you should only hear 5 and 3. Right? So this lick, we're going to do 4 and 6, the C sharp slide up to a D. So it sounds like this. So it's just a half step slide. So the first section, and then second section. Now we're going to go up to the E on the 5th string, same shape, all the stuff we just talked about, and we're going to do a slide up and back, a half step. So we're going to slide from E up to F, back to E, or 7th fret up to 8, back to 7. Sounds like this. And then to the 5th fret, which is a D, same shape, same strings, everything's exactly the same, slide back up to the E. Or 5th fret, slide to 7. So it sounds like this. One more time. Now notice it does that twice. There's repeat signs on this slide. So you'll do that whole thing twice. And then after the second time, we're going to drop down to the F sharp on the 6th string, or the 2nd fret, E, F sharp. Do the octave shape, 2 frets up, 2 strings up. With our pinky, mute out the 5th string again, mute out 3rd string with the back of your pinky. We're going to hit that note and then go to G, and we're going to slide from G up to G sharp, or the 3rd fret up to the 4th fret. So you might notice on the tablature that there's no X in between the notes that are at the end of the slides. For example, on the second section there, that C sharp up to the D, there's no X between 5 and 7. That's because you're not hitting it with the pick. So there's no need, it's already muted out. So just to clarify that. All right, the whole riff, I'll play it twice slow with that ending on it. It sounds like this. Now what you might notice is when we come up here, we're doing a chromatic scale. Remember in one of the first shows we talked about the chromatic scale, doing like 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 6, 7, 8, a bunch of notes in a row essentially. Here we're doing F sharp to G, sliding to G sharp, and then we start back over on A, up to B. So it sounds like that, this at the end. All right, check it out. Here's the whole thing slow, twice in a row with the ending, and I'll show you how you might want to end it. So you can end A to B right there. So go ahead and practice this and enjoy playing it. You've probably seen our guest today on the show. You've probably seen him live because he's one of the busiest singer-songwriters I know. He's out playing 15, 20 dates a month. But if you haven't caught him, you're going to catch him right here on the Ultimate Guitar Show. Mr. Wade Egan. How's it going, man?
Good, thanks, Mark.
Cool, man. Well, everybody always wants to know this. What were your influences growing up?
As far as music is concerned, mainly Miles Davis, I would say.
Miles Davis.
Miles Davis in the jazz realm pretty much opened up my eyes to the fact that you can do anything you want musically as long as somebody can explain it.
Yeah. You didn't start out on guitar, right?
No, I didn't actually. I started out on piano and then went to saxophone, then went to guitar.
Right on. Excellent. How'd you wind up at guitar? What brought that about?
Well, I actually came to LA to play, to start working with bands and playing music in general. And I guess that Jack Johnson CD came out about 2000, and basically I said to myself, "Man, I could do that."
Come a long way since 2000. That's not that long ago.
No. Well, I applied myself.
Yeah, well, you're doing a
multiple
great
hours
job.
a day at least.
Yeah, your CD is truly it's one of the best ones I've heard in a long time. I love it. Some of the songs on there they're very clever, and I love what you've done with the way you write. And I think you're going to perform the Head song today, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You guys are in for a rad treat for this. This song that we just love. He did it in concert with us the other night. Audience went crazy, and you guys are going to really enjoy it as well. How do you write? What's your process for writing?
Well, I do one of two things. I either go lyrics first or music first, and then I work backwards. I've come up with a good tune, I'll write the whole progression on the guitar, and then I'll find something clever
Right, yeah.
to throw in there or silly or whatever. A lot of times I start writing, I fool around with joke lyrics to find the melody, and then I pick the melody and then I'll change the lyrics, but sometimes the joke
I was going to ask.
lyrics are more funny, so.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I've had that happen. I have it happen more with I'll say for lack of a better way to say it, joke guitar lines.
Right.
A solo that I was just messing around. I was like, well, that actually kind of worked. It starts to stick, So very cool.
Yeah.
You have a website.
I do.
And what is that?
It's wadesongs.com.
So wadesongs.com.
Wadesongs.com.
Right across there you go. Excellent. You have a new CD out.
I do.
And how many tunes are on that?
It's 10 songs. It's called Well, Here We Are. And I just released that in February.
Right. It's awesome. I dig that album. You guys got to check it out. You can check out Wade at wadesongs.com. All of his songs are available on iTunes, and he's going to do a little performance for you right now. So Wade, take it away, man.
Sometimes I leave it at parties. Once I left it in the airport security bin. When it's lost, and I don't know why. I even retrieve it after all of the trouble that it's got me in. Yeah, well, I just don't understand this head of mine. It's like you just don't know. Seems every time it gets the hankering, I turn around and it's gone. No, my head's got a mind of its own. Yeah, my head's got a mind of its own. It's all on and now. There ain't no telling where or when it's going to round, because my head, it's got a mind of its own. A mind of its own. Remember when I left it at your place? Or that one time when I saw it on the 405? Yeah, I was kicking back, driving, listening to my tunes, grooving. When all of a sudden I look over and my head drove by. Well, I just don't understand this head of mine. It's like you just don't know. Seems every time it gets the hankering.
This program has been made available by the generous support of Musicians Institute, the world's most innovative school of contemporary music.
Because my head, it's got a mind of its own. My head's got a mind of its own. It's and there ain't no telling where or when it's gone wrong. Because my head, it's got a mind of its own. My head's got a mind of its own. A mind of its own. Yeah, my head's got a mind of its own.